Hey everybody, it's Mike from DestinyGuitar.com, and today we're going to be talking about the G chord. And the G chord is awesome for a lot of different reasons. One is it sounds cool, and secondly, if you learn how to play this G chord well, then you've opened up the doors to playing a lot of other songs. Because once you learn how to use a capo, you'll find that many songs that you want to play can be done by capoing up the neck and playing in the key of G. Alright, that's cool. And it is a 6-string chord, which means we get to just strum away on all 6 strings in order to voice this chord. Now the chord I'm going to be showing you today is the first position G. And the first position G chord is called that because it's the first place on the neck that you can play the chord. It's also called an open chord, and the reason why this term open is used is that we're using open strings. In other words, we're not fretting anything to create the note, and there's actually 3 open strings in this chord. Now, as we get into exactly where to place your fingers, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to show you 2 ways to place your fingers and play this chord. The reason why is that if you learn both of these ways to play it, it'll be very helpful for you in the future in terms of comfort in switching between other chords while you're playing a song. So let's just get right to it. Alright, as I mentioned, it is a 6-string chord, and so we will start here on this bottom string. And take your second finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. And then take your first finger and place it on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. These next 3 strings are going to be open. And then you'll take your 3rd finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And there's your G chord. Now, if this is a little bit of a stretch in order to, kind of turn your hand and get that finger placed around there on that top string, it's not just you, it's the way that the chord is voiced. And so here's that second way to play the chord that I'm going to show you. It's the same notes, but it's just using different fingers in order to play it. You kind of turn your hand like this, and so it's in a more natural position. And you take your 3rd finger to play this 3rd fret on the 6th string. You take your 2nd finger and play this 2nd fret on the 5th string. Your 1st finger doesn't do anything in this chord, in this version of the chord. And then you take your 4th finger here and you place it on that 3rd fret of the top E string, or the 1st string. Same chord. Now this is a little bit easier to play if you've developed the hand strength or the muscle strength to do it. If you haven't yet, then you may find it easier to do this because you can squeeze a little harder and it's a little bit more of a positive a pressure on the neck in this form. So what would be the reason to learn it in this form? Well, primarily because for those of you that have learned how to play a C chord, you'll notice that my fingers are already almost lined up perfectly to play a C chord simply by moving these 2 fingers down and then fretting that. So there's the C chord, and then I can go right back to that G chord. Almost in a way it looks like my hand is barely moving, and that's because really it's not moving a lot. Now G and C are played together commonly. There's a lot of songs that use G, C, or CG, and so learning to play it with these fingers in this way is actually very helpful. Now let's talk a little bit about the notes that we're playing, or the theory behind this chord, and I'll just reiterate that you don't have to know the theory behind it in order to play it properly. If you know how to place your fingers and you can strum all 6 strings, well then you've played a G chord and you can move on. You can be successful at doing that. But sometimes it is helpful to understand why it is that this chord works on the guitar. Now a G major chord consists of 3 notes, and you really only need 3 notes in order to create a major chord, and those notes are G, B, and D. So a G major chord is G, B, and D. And so you may ask yourself, well, if we only need 3 notes to create a major chord, and we're playing 6 strings, well then what are we doing? How is this also a G major chord? And the reason why is because on the guitar, more often than not, when we're playing a full chord, we are doubling some notes. And in the case of this G chord, it looks like this. This is a G, and then we have a B, and then we have a D, which is this open string here. So there's the 3 notes that are a part of your major triad. And then we've got some doubling. We've got another G, we've got a B, and yet again another G. So we've doubled some of the notes. As a matter of fact, in the case of this G chord, we're actually playing 3 G's in this chord. And that's actually what makes this thing sound full and rich. It's a great big chord that you can play on the guitar. Sounds great. So there you have it. That's the G chord. And I just recommend you practice both ways of playing it in both fingerings. It'll actually benefit you. One of the other benefits to playing the G chord with your fingers in this second position that I showed you is with your first finger free like this, you can actually play this note right here, which is the first fret of the second string. And by doing that, you're playing a suspended chord, and this is what's termed as a passing chord in music, and you can suspend it and then release it. So which is a very nice thing to do, and you'll hear it in frequently in music. Sometimes people will suspend a chord before moving to another chord. Classically, in the case of the G, you'll find that that happens right before you move to a C chord, which is convenient because by playing that note, then I can move my fingers to this other position and I'm already on the C. It works like this. Not bad. So, yeah, practice both ways to play it, and if you're a beginner, then my recommendation is seek out some private guitar lessons. Nothing beats one-on-one instruction, and you'll advance faster and get a tailor-made plan that's for you. In the meantime, check out our other videos on destinyguitar.com.